in skin, sound, a telepathic embrace, transparent language, and epidermal vision. Organic membrane.
Thank you, Oluyemi and Ijeoma, for joining me on In the Field here in the Outsound Presents channel. And we're here talking to you about your music. You're going to be coming out to the 16th Annual Outsound New Music Summit on July 29th. And so we'd like to talk to our performing artists and find out a little bit about what they do and a little history. I'm curious because I don't think I've had an opportunity to actually talk with the two of you about maybe some of your musical history. You know, like what was it that what were your first experiences with music, and what brought you into the creative worlds that you're currently in now? So.
Well, first of all, we're really excited about being on the festival again. We are happy that we were invited again because it's a wonderful festival.
Thank you.
And this area, West Coast, needs a festival like this. And since it's been 16 years, we know that it has some longevity, and it really has been really good about bringing artists together. So we're really happy about that.
Hey, you're welcome.
For me, as far as going back, I guess I could go back to childhood actually in terms of musical influence. And since I'm a poet, I think in terms of my first exposure to poetry, which was in my home. My parents were very artistic minded, and so we had music in our home. We had poetry in our home. My brother and I both took piano lessons and dance lessons, so we were really sort of attuned to that type of world, and we were encouraged in those pursuits. So it began with the poetry, and then we had LPs in our home of Billie Holiday and Mahalia Jackson, gospel. We had operatic things there as well. So it's just an overall exposure. And I think probably in the progression, going to college and then meeting people from different parts of the country who had different musical interests. And so I was sort of invited into some of their worlds, and just being exposed, I think, to a lot of different types of music. But I think the creative realm attracted me most because I felt more freedom there.
Right.
And so because I had been trained in certain ways to do things a certain way, I felt to be able to go outside of that was exciting and challenging too at the same time. So that would be a capsule history for me.
Were there any particular artists that were most influential in that development?
I would say probably Ella Fitzgerald, because of her unique percussive way that she delivered. And she was always so crystal clear, and her music was always up. It was just the up sound, and I really, really liked that. In fact, I can remember listening to her songbook over and over and over again, because I was into memorization and memorizing her songs and the way she delivered them. And so I think she had a big influence on me, as well as the premier gospel singer, Clara Ward, who was just a powerhouse in terms of her delivery. She was just so strong that it was just so impressive, so dynamic. I just loved it. And to be able to see her in person was just magical to me. So I really liked the fact that she could pull people, and just grab them with her voice. It was just fantastic. So
wonderful.
Those two stand out early on.
Right.
But then as I got further along, there came Jean Lee.
Right.
There came Betty Carter.
Yeah.
And Abby Lincoln. Those two. Those three. I call those deep divas.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense to me too.
Deep
Yeah.
divas.
Yeah.
So those three have just they're like on the pinnacle for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
And Oluyemi, same question.
Repeat the question.
Your early musical experiences that influenced and brought you to the point that you are today, and maybe some of the artists that actually helped propel that creative spirit that you possess.
Okay, well, I deal with sound in regards to like the train sound, Amtrak train that was not too far, several streets over. So that's just dealing with sound, birds, airplane. The Detroit airport is not too far, so the planes would be descending. So we're dealing with those sounds, and then of course choir in the church, and then the Temptations, Motown.
Okay.
Yeah. So with the bass clarinet is Eric Dolphy, but the tone of the instrument really came. My love for the bass tone really came from Melvin Franklin of the Temptations.
All right.
See, I used to think that Eric was the solo person that inspired me. Of course, he did for the selection of the instrument, but the tone quality was the bass singer Melvin Franklin of the Temptations. When I really traced it back in my mind, I said it was this brother that made me fall in love with his voice, because they would have everybody under the Motown contract for the winter break in December at the Fox Theater, Midtown Detroit. So everybody, you would see everybody, the Motown Review they called it. So they would have Smokey Robinson, Marvelettes, Mary Wells, and the Contours, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
So
Very rich area for that.
rich. Then they had an orchestra behind them,
Right.
and they would do all their hits. Just do a review of their hits. They hit a few lines and certain tunes. They would do the complete tune. But then after they went through the score, then they would add on. So they like, now it's time to really make it fly. And each group would vie with each other. It wasn't no malicious thing. It was just, you get a group of musicians.
Right.
One go take it further because they're inspired by the other one, Or either the day before, the other one took it off, and the day they said, well, we heard something else in our own tune, and we would take it. So it was Melvin Franklin and Eric Dolphy for the selection of the instrument. Of course, Ornette Coleman and John Coltrane, Pharaoh Sanders. Then when Cecil Taylor came to town, so it turned my whole thinking upside down, because Cecil starts almost like he in the middle of the ocean compared to how Coltrane started.
Sure.
He reached this ascension part.
Right.
Where Cecil starts off like that, slow, but you in mid-sea, and then he takes the shore away from you.
Oh.
See, so you got to deal.
Right.
So, but that helped me see that it was more to how a human being could think and how a human being can apply themselves within the arts or, I say arts, but dance or painting or poetry or even school teacher, engineer, that they can go into mystical zones with themselves and be conscious of. Because what I saw with these artists, that they would go deep in themselves, like seeing Stevie Wonder when they call him Little Stevie Wonder, and he would come out with his bongos, and he would just get so excited, he'd be jumping around the stage, and he had someone assist him, so he wouldn't jump off the stage.
Oh, wow.
Because he couldn't see, of course.
Right.
But nevertheless, he would get that excited. So to watch transformation happen, that's what I really learned from watching all these artists, up to Cecil Taylor and Sun Ra. And then when I became more familiar with some of the European great artists, Evan Parker and what's his other guy? Peter Brosman.
Yes.
And even Jerry Mulligan here.
Right.
And Stan Getz. They had great sounds,
Yeah.
And what's the other guy? The one with Miles.
The pianist.
Yeah, the Sketches of Spain.
Bill Evans? Or?
Bill Evans,
Yeah.
right, exactly. See, so they covered another area of possibility.
Sure.
See, so then of course you deal with the great Japanese culture and the Koreans and
Right.
Filipino. They still taking sound and utilizing a system of tones and notation to do it. Pentatonic, nine-tone scales in Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana. Then you go up north to Sudan, or either you go to Yemen, places like that,
Yeah.
or the Native American right here,
Yeah.
who use all kind of throat sounds
Yeah.
with their powwow.
Yeah.
So those things help me see, well, wait a minute, we got a wide range of possibilities we can utilize because these artists their message was so strong. No, they believed in what they were doing so strongly that it had an effect on me and it got
Yeah.
my attention.
Right.
Because they vibrational. James Brown, he came to town with a 35-piece orchestra, see,
Yeah.
with the flames and all of that. And he's spinning around and
Yeah.
his cape will fall and the flame will pick it up,
Yeah.
put it back over and tap him,
Right.
But I mean, I never seen anybody who could dance like him.
And still contain that artistry.
It still contained artistry, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
See, I mean, because he was a poet. He sung like a poet.
Yeah.
See.
I agree.
And then he used harmonics to because he was a singer,
Right.
But I said, man,
Right.
this guy here,
Yeah.
and the energy, see him, Coltrane, and Cecil Taylor, they have that same just relentless nature in going into the trance dimension.
And don't
Right.
forget Albert Island.
Yeah, Albert. Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask you.
Right,
Yeah.
Albert Island.
And were you both? Are you both from Detroit?
No, I'm from Washington D.C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to. I forgot to ask.
Yeah, but
Your-
Albert Island.
Yeah.
that's-
Oh yeah, see Albert Island. He took he took these hymns
Uh huh. Yeah.
and just elongated how you could blow that.
Yeah.
See, then I saw Alice Coltrane too,
Right.
and met her, and she helped me actually trust to utilize women in the band.
Oh,
From
great.
watching Coltrane, how he done that,
Yeah.
the validity was consolidated.
Of course.
From hearing Coltrane, I didn't get to see them together, but to see how Alice took it forward after
True.
his passing,
That's true.
it confirmed me to work with Ijeoma would be a good thing, and it does work.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, see, it does work, but it just helped me because a lot of men still haven't resolved that.
Right.
A lot of men musicians haven't resolved that.
I
yet.
agree. Yes.
Yeah.
It definitely is still a consistent issue. In fact, what's interesting is this year at Summit, for instance,
Okay.
this is the first year that we have about a 50-50 split.
See, that's really great.
Finally,
That's
great.
great.
See.
And that's because there's more of that happening.
Yes.
More men and women are starting to hear each other
Yes.
and work together
That's
in a more
good.
collaborative fashion
That's
in
right.
in this music.
Mhm.
And so I was really happy to see that. It wasn't really something I set out to do. It just kind of happened.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, see, you're a very clever person. You always have been.
Oh, thank you.
And your clever perception enables you. You're clever, and you got a wide range you work with of thinking. See, so just being clever in a wide way, I think it's a little easier for you to pick up on something. Because I've known you for decades now.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what I've appreciated about it. And plus, you're from Michigan too. See?
Well, yeah, that's true. I am the wayward son of the Midwest as well, which is interesting. I was going to ask you though. So, did you ever have run-ins with Griot Galaxy and
Yes.
Farouk Z Bey?
Yes, yes.
Because I just found out about Griot Galaxy not 2 weeks
Okay,
ago. I was
yeah.
really embarrassed to know that I hadn't
Well,
heard
see,
about them.
they got more stuff after I left Michigan.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I did a performance. My younger brother, Ken, a phenomenal pianist, we did a duet at a club in Detroit. Okay, I can't pronounce it now. But anyway, Farouk came to the performance, and we met, and he really appreciated what he heard, just to see that someone else. Well, anytime another musician hears somebody else who moves them, they like that.
He's
Well,
a local person.
yeah, he's a local. He's passed
Yeah, he died in 2012.
Yes, yes.
But he played to the very, very,
That's right.
very, very end.
That's right.
He was still playing with breathing tubes,
Oh.
live
That's it.
shows.
You're right.
Amazing. But anyway, I just remember that because you mentioned Detroit,
Yes.
and I've been associating myself with some of the musicians
Okay.
over there in the last few years and
Okay.
learning about that community better.
Okay.
So-
Yes, that's right. Because there's a lot of great history there.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, absolutely. So, the creative music systems that
Okay.
you incorporate, we work together as positive knowledge.
Right.
How long have you collaborated?
It's been over 3 decades.
Okay.
Almost 4 now.
Almost 4
Oh,
now.
all right,
Yeah,
all right.
so
Almost
it's
4.
been
Yeah.
quite
In
a
various
few years.
configurations
Yes.
with guest performers
Yes.
and throughout the world as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And you've developed I think your own contribution to the world stage, and
Thank you.
I'm curious about how you view that work that you're doing, and how you approach that. And you know you have descriptive titles. You know, am I correct? Is it creative music systems, or is there?
Yeah,
is that the
creative
correct?
music system.
Right, right.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Well, I think each of us has a piece of that, that makes that system work, because mine is more based upon the word, but the word as a musical unit, So I consider myself really a musician in that sense, because the voice is, an instrument. So my system is primarily looking at how can I take a text that's written and elevate it to the point where it is not on the page. It's not a text anymore. It becomes a sound, and it becomes a living, breathing element that is musical and then can be a part of a musical language that we create together. So I'm really interested in that question, and I write, but then I also take apart what I write so that I can really examine the spaces, the silences, how can I extend these sounds, how can I, flip it around, how can I move it around, and make it elastic.
Right.
So that's what I primarily am interested in. And just going back a little bit, because you spoke about the balance of this year's festival and the women and
Yes.
the men. And in 2015, I was part of a publication that's out of Germany from the publisher Buddy's Knife. And they put together a book that's entitled Giving Birth to Sound, Women in Creative Music. And they brought together for this compilation women from all over the world who are involved in the creative music.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be a part of that. And so we were asked questions about our involvement in the music, the challenges that we've had, and what we're currently working on. And it was so uplifting to me to be a part of that project, because you had all these women. I think there was over 30, maybe a little bit more,
Wow.
that were involved in this project. Poets, instrumentalists, just musicians of all types, all ages.
Right.
And so and all of us have this drive to express the feminine element that is our gift, to give that gift to this music. And I think that Oluyemi and I have been able to, how shall I say, work together and be able to allow each other to give expression of that. His expression, my expression, it creates a new expression.
Right.
And then we celebrate that. We celebrate that all the time. So his music inspires me, and I feel that my words inspire him, and then sometimes it's it's totally separate, but then it's together as well. And somehow it just sort of works. So yeah.
Great.
Well, Ijeoma, being a vocal specialist, connected me with the Temptations. Well, it's the Temptations, but Motown.
Right.
Because basically, with soul music, it's vocal.
Yeah.
See, so I always liked lyrics. Actually, my brother and I, my older brother, we used to practice what we're gonna say to the girls did.
Okay.
But we was inspired from the records, because the
Oh.
records have all these nice, sweet things
Sure.
about women, or the women had nice, sweet things about their men.
Right.
Some were lamentations that they didn't do good, or others were celebrated. You get both, because it's just, even when you find you a good woman, you had these, ups and downs, or lefts and right turns. But if you do it together, then you both make a left turn together, even
Sure.
if you're still working on what's going on, why you're making the left turn
Right.
or making the right turn. So the vocal, and Leon Thomas, see, I loved him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when he and Pharaoh collaborated, that taught me something too. See, so you had Alice Coltrane and John Coltrane taught me a huge piece, and then Leon Thomas and Pharaoh. I've seen them live several times. They came to Michigan, and I had even invited Leon Thomas over to my apartment.
Oh, don't forget Eddie Jefferson.
Yeah, Eddie Jefferson.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah. I mean,
See, he's another guy.
Yeah,
I
that
saw him
makes
in
sense
San
to me.
Francisco. Yeah.
yeah.
He actually autographed one of my albums I have there.
Wow.
But to watch these people go inside and then come back out, I guess it's similar to a basketball. You throw it down and it comes back up.
Yeah.
So, so you establish the science of its rhythm. If I throw it down quick, it's coming quick. If I slow it down, it's going to do that.
Right.
So, in doing my engineering, doing design, technical drawing, but that's a science, because you're not just up there say, well, I'm going to put this line here.
Right.
This line got to mean something.
Sure.
So somebody can comprehend it, because we're going to build this.
Right.
We're going to build from this print.
Right.
See, so that showed me how important each sound is.
Okay.
And each note is, whether you're getting this exact note, the G or A or E flat or B flat, or you're getting the journey to E flat or B flat, which is not on the score, but you're thinking that. See, so I'd say, well, if I got these engineering drawings that is a map to how we're going to construct this project,
Okay.
then I can take these similar concepts and apply it to music. I'm going to design something that is exactly that, and others approximately exact.
Right.
I like the idea of approximately exact, because that's why I had to leave engineering, because they didn't deal with approximately exact as much, because they got millions of dollars to build a contract, build an edifice, and they won't know approximate. This thing got to stand up.
Right.
And hold.
Right.
Well, artists, they can stand it, they can use the process of their composition at how do we arrive at we even want to build something.
Right.
See, and they add that in their piece.
Right.
Like you blow these series of notes, and then you say, now, what if I leave some notes off, or I cut these notes in half?
Okay.
I won't see only in thought, but I'm really going to blow F.
Okay.
See, you can do that, because the C, it's like you want to wear purple. No, you're thinking purple, but just the thought of purple leads you to, I'm going to wear orange today. See?
I see.
It's a paradox, but,
right.
It's like you're walking down the street and you go to some store, but you didn't watch these cactus and lilies and roses, and you get in the store and you buy some burgundy. See, so what you saw didn't have nothing to do with burgundy, but you saw something that inspired you to go to burgundy. See, so what I'm saying is, that's how I approach the music now. I score the music, including the environment, how I arrived at, I want to do this, and then score it out, lay it out, and then have all these elasticity of going. I'm gonna go inside a low B flat, but I'm not gonna blow it low.
Right.
See, so now you got these
So
paradoxes.
implied inspiration.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but that's part of the piece because it's part of life.
Right.
See, like I want broccoli, but I'm not gonna eat it today. But tomorrow I'm gonna eat it.
Right.
But today I'm gonna eat string beans.
Okay.
But I'm really thinking about broccoli today.
Okay.
See, but that's part of what I'm gonna eat today or 2 days later. If I make enough of it, I can eat 2 days off of it.
Right.
See, that makes me think about the artist Ramir Bearden, because he was a phenomenal collagist.
Mm-hmm.
And in his collages, he always uses pieces, but he has some small little figures have great big hands, or a person with a big head has a little mouth. So he's got these things put into place but as a whole, it creates a total picture.
Oh, okay.
But you wouldn't think that these things would go together, but they do. And he could envision this, and then he could create it. And I think some of our system is like that. Things that you don't think, or sounds that you don't think necessarily would go together, do, because all sound comes from the same place. So it's less like you go colors or whatever. You can make them, put them wherever you like, and place them, and make a pattern or a picture, and it becomes a whole in itself. So that the music and the poetry can work because we have created it to work. You see, and so that's what happens. We believe it. We believe in it, and so that belief gives it its life.
Right.
And then we practice it.
That's the main thing.
We practice.
I was going to
this.
ask you about that. Yeah.
We practice this.
Yeah.
So that when we get to the stage, or get to the performance, or get to the workshop, then we're ready to have it come through us.
Right.
See, because you have to practice.
Right.
A lot of people think, well, you just get up there but that's not it.
Right.
It's much more disciplined than that.
Yeah, I was curious about the element of improvisation within your performance. You practice. Are there other elements you use, like compositional? I mean, I know you write poetry, but musically, are there ideas that are preset at all, or is it?
Oh yeah, it's always preset.
All right.
So I'm going in and out of that system.
Right. So you have that in your mind.
I get all these.
You've worked it out.
These themes and.
Okay.
So they themes, then they're themes inside the themes.
Okay.
See, so it's several levels inward, and there's several levels outward, and several. I guess you can say several levels north, several levels south, and west and east. Then it gets interesting, but now we're talking about southwest, southeast of the composition, or we can say we're going into prayer, and we're gonna go into the sanctuary of the prayer, and then we're gonna meditate before we even say the prayer. See, or we're gonna think of some people, women who are having children that need some thought. I don't know who they are, and some I do, because something's on the other side of the planet. But I sense their need. Then you got people who are dying, old age, or some disease that you feel their needs too, because this is transformational music. But all of the pieces that we do, I do, are compositions.
Okay.
It's just I have elongated how you can compose a composition.
Right, and
it's not limited to the Western approach only.
Right.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get an
Yeah.
idea of that. And I think a lot of times people are very interested in the behind the closed doors process for various things, and so this is really good to understand that.
Yeah, no, it's very clear that for myself that see, like I said, with engineering, those are compositions, and I saw the order in that. So I just adjusted the order of how I learned rudimentary things in music, and said, well, I can open this thing up, but they still composition. It's just not limited to how I was trained in music. Composition is just this, because that don't apply to me. Because I said, well, you said that, I didn't say that.
Right.
So the writers can write what they think, but they haven't talked to me.
Yeah.
Like you talking to me, so
Right.
you get to hear me explain. But this other guy here was talking to me, so he just guessing at the stuff, and he don't know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, and that happens, you know.
Most of the time it happens.
Yeah, most of the time that happens.
Especially in the 60s and 70s, they didn't talk to a lot of African descent about what they were doing, because they didn't think they were sophisticated enough to even explain what they were doing. And Lord help us, we practice our thinking and we practice talking too.
And then sometimes you get this posthumous analysis done outside of those traditions, and I always get the feeling they're not quite right. You know, I mean, how many people have taken, like, say, Coltrane's works and analyzed them to death and said, okay, this is how he did it, and it's like, well, did you talk to him? No, because he's not here anymore. So how can you know?
Right.
So yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Well, I mean, he did give us hints.
Yeah, right.
You know, from interviews they've had.
Oh yeah.
Well, he told us the composition is this.
Yeah.
Then the LP say composition.
But you know how people get. You know, they get an analysis in their head and they want to continue with that instead of like actually hear what.
That.
Yeah, they want to believe
Yeah,
that.
well, it's limited. Well, that's like talking with a person from Bangladesh who has a whole entirely different musical scale system and the science of their music.
Yeah.
And they say, well, because it's so different, we won't really think that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or she.
Yeah.
You know, she's a wonderful composer, and there's some great, deep, ancient folk music.
Yeah.
See, and they just say, well, it's not modern, so it's really not valid, but they can raise the spirit, where the other ones just show you a lot of fancy finesse.
Right.
See, I'm trying to get to the spirits, because that's who I am, and that's who the rest of us are. I like to believe that, and we can help each other raise each other's spirit.
Yeah.
And that's our intention at the Outsound Festival. I'm going to raise my spirit and hope everybody else to come.
Every time I hear you play, my spirit is raised as well. So I think so. I think so. I think that I've experienced that, and plus I've talked to people outside the scene that have a similar experience as well. So I think you're going in the right direction. It seems like that to me.
We feel it feels good when you're honest to music. You know, when you're honest to music, it gives something back and it shows you some secrets.
There's a ritual there that I feel from your works, and it's actually inspired me personally. You know, I've some of my performances, I have these visions of you performing. And go, oh, well, and then, okay, I'll think. I liked what he was doing there, and I think that makes sense to me. So,
That's good. That's good. When we were just recently in New York, I think we were mentioning earlier, and the Vision Festival is a really such a marvelous coming together of artists.
Yeah.
And that's why, personally, that's why I really love it. I mean, I love the fact that we can perform there, but it's just being in this atmosphere of artists and, you know, talking with each other, listening to each other for a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hearing the different musics and people's compositions, what they're working on.
Yeah.
You know, we have the conversations that are really meaningful, artist to artist.
Yeah.
And it's very unique, and I just always get so much out of it. You know, I just feel encouraged and you know, just wanting to just keep going. You know, you get that feeling of got to keep going because you know we're in this together, even though we're not in the same place geographically.
Right.
But we're in this effort together to help heal our planet.
Yeah, I agree.
Heal ourselves and heal our planet.
I agree.
That's, you know, and because this year's theme at the festival was justice.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people were, you know, directing their music towards that. So it's, it's just the power of the artist can never be underestimated.
And that's an artist-run organization as well.
Yes, it is. It's run by
so
Arts. What is it? Arts for
Arts.
Arts for Art.
That's right.
Yeah, Arts for Art.
Something I can identify with.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, see, what you're doing is just that important here, and the people who support you too, the organization, for the West Coast, because it empowers the artist that we have to be the torch bearer of our own self and our own works, and also be transformational people to the global society.
Yeah.
See, because our value is just that important from the ancient to now.
Yeah.
These people were people who went through the communities over mountains and the water, travel to reach other villages to empower the people. You know, that we have to continue to love our parents and ourselves and our families and our friends and co-workers, and we can empower each other to have a happy life and a happy planet.
That's right.
Happy humanity here.
Yeah.
And we're going to be victorious because we already are.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we already are.
Well, I know that's what we, in this world, it seems like sometimes people feel so hopeless, but I think that we as individuals have to contribute that.
Oh, yes.
To make our contributions the best we can
Yes.
is within our own powers to do so.
Yes.
So, and I'm glad that we were able to bring you back to Summit this year.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
believe it's your third appearance, which is a very rare thing because Summit has been built to try to cover a wider base, but of artists from all over the community.
Right.
But I'm always glad to have you back.
Well, thank you.
And you fit very well into what we're trying to do over there. So I'm gonna wrap it up
Okay.
here. Thank you, Ijeoma and
You're
Oluyemi,
welcome,
for
Ray.
talking
You too.
with me.
You're welcome.
And we'll be seeing you July 29th, 2017
We'll
at
be
the
there.
Community Music
Yeah.
Center on the same stage as Karen Borka Trio with Lisa Metcalf and Donald Robinson. So,
That's
and Hamir Atwal is joining you as well.
Yes.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
great. So
So I'm looking forward to that. Great. He's a great percussionist.
I
Yes.
agree totally.
Yes,
It'll be
It's going to
wonderful.
be a great night.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you too.
All right.